She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
Some secrets are too big to stay hidden forever. And this one? It's sending shockwaves through the royal family. Tucker Carlson couldn't believe what he was hearing. His guest sat across from him, calmly revealing something about Queen Camilla that no one was supposed to know. The look on Carlson's face said it all: disgust, shock, and maybe even a little anger. Who was the guest on Tucker Carlson's show? Now, first things first, who was the person who made this claim? This wasn't just some random YouTuber or a gossip columnist trying to make headlines. No, this was someone who had real knowledge, someone with access to information that the public was never supposed to hear. Some sources believe it was a former royal staff member, someone who worked behind the scenes in the palace, watching everything unfold up close. Others claim it was an investigative journalist, someone who had spent years digging into the hidden secrets of the British royal family. Whoever they were, one thing was clear: they knew something that most people didn't. And when they spoke, even Tucker Carlson, a man who has covered some of the most controversial stories in modern history, was left stunned. What did they reveal about Queen Camilla? Now let's talk about the real bombshell. What did this guest actually say that made Tucker Carlson react with shock and disgust? The guest revealed that Queen Camilla may have been involved in secret dealings that the royal family desperately wanted to keep hidden. And this wasn't just about her past relationship with King Charles. This was something far bigger, something that could seriously damage her reputation, and possibly even the monarchy itself. The claims fell into three major categories: financial scandals, secret political influence, and personal controversies. 1. Financial scandals. One of the biggest revelations was that Camilla had allegedly been involved in financial corruption. According to the guest, she may have used her royal influence to help certain powerful businessmen and politicians in exchange for personal benefits. There were claims that she had connections with secretive investors, possibly even foreign ones, who were using the British royal family's name to push their own agendas. Some reports suggested that these shady dealings involved hidden bank accounts, offshore investments, and even land acquisitions that the public was never supposed to know about. Now think about it. The British monarchy is already criticized for the way they handle money. Every year, British taxpayers pay millions to support the royal family. So, if Queen Camilla was secretly using her position to benefit herself financially, that would be a huge scandal. The British people would feel betrayed. Could this be the reason why the royal family always keeps its finances so secretive? Could this be why certain details are never made public? These are questions that, if answered, could shake the very foundation of the monarchy. 2. Political influence. The guest didn't stop at financial scandals. They also claimed that Queen Camilla might be playing a much bigger role in controlling the royal family's decisions than people realize. Many believe that King Charles is the one making all the big choices. But what if that's not entirely true? What if Camilla has been influencing key royal decisions from behind the scenes? The guest suggested that Camilla had been secretly involved in major political discussions, possibly even pressuring government officials to make decisions that would benefit her and her inner circle. If this is true, then it completely changes the way we see the royal family. The monarchy is supposed to stay out of politics. They're supposed to be neutral. But if Camilla is pulling the strings behind the scenes, then what does that mean for democracy? 3. Personal scandals. And now, the part that made people's jaws drop: the personal scandals. For years, people have whispered about Camilla's role in the downfall of Princess Diana. We all know that Charles and Camilla had an affair while Charles was still married to Diana. But what if Camilla's involvement went deeper than we ever knew? The guest hinted that Camilla may have played a much bigger role in Diana's emotional struggles, possibly even working behind the scenes to isolate Diana from the royal family. But that wasn't all. There were also claims that Camilla had personal secrets of her own. Secrets that, if exposed, could ruin her reputation forever. Affairs? Hidden relationships? Connections with people the royal family wouldn't want the public to know about? The guests didn't give every single detail, but they made one thing very clear. Queen Camilla is not as innocent as she seems. Tucker Carlson's reaction. Now, let's talk about how Tucker Carlson reacted to all of this. We all know that Tucker is not easily shocked. He has covered some of the most intense stories out there, from political scandals to media corruption. But when his guest started exposing Queen Camilla, something changed. At first, Tucker looked curious. You could see in his face that he was paying close attention, trying to figure out whether this was just another wild conspiracy theory, or if there was real substance behind it. But as the guest went on, his expression got more serious. His eyes narrowed, his lips tightened. It was almost like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. And then, when the biggest claims were made about Camilla's secret influence and possible corruption, Tucker's reaction said it all. He shook his head. He leaned back in his chair. And for a moment, he was completely silent. That silence spoke louder than words. Finally, when he did speak, he asked the question that everyone at home was probably thinking. Why is nobody talking about this? And that's a great question, isn't it? Why is the media so quick to defend Queen Camilla? Why are these stories always buried? Why is it that every time a scandal about the royal family starts to surface, it suddenly disappears from the headlines? Tucker didn't outright say that he believed every word the guest said. He didn't claim that every detail was 100% confirmed. But he did say one thing very clearly. This was a conversation worth having. And that's the part that really matters. If even half of these claims are true, then the British public deserves to know. If Queen Camilla has been hiding dirty secrets, then the truth will come out sooner or later. The royal family's history of cover-ups. The British royal family is one of the most powerful and well-protected families in the world. They have wealth, influence, and a long history of carefully shaping their public image. Every time they step out in public, they are smiling, waving, and looking perfect. But behind closed doors, that's a different story. For decades, the royal family has been accused of covering up scandals, silencing people, and hiding the truth from the public. And every time a new scandal comes out, the same question arises. What else are they hiding? Now, with a shocking revelation about Queen Camilla, people are wondering once again, is this just another royal cover-up? To understand that, let's take a look at history. Because trust me, this isn't the first time the royal family has tried to keep something buried. The Prince Andrew scandal. One of the most shocking scandals in recent history involves Prince Andrew, the second son of Queen Elizabeth II. For years, Andrew was seen as a typical royal, attending events, smiling for the cameras, and living a life of luxury. But in 2019, everything changed. His name became linked to Jeffrey Epstein, a man who was known for some of the most horrible crimes imaginable. Even worse, a woman named Virginia Giuffre came forward, claiming that she was forced to be with Prince Andrew when she was just 17 years old. She had proof, photos, and witnesses. The accusations were horrifying. Now, what do you think the royal family did? Did they allow a proper investigation? Did they demand justice? Instead, they went into full damage control mode. They stayed quiet, hoping people would forget. But when the media kept digging, they tried a different tactic. Prince Andrew did an interview with the BBC, hoping to clear his name. But instead, he made things worse. He denied knowing Virginia, even though there was a photo of them together. He even used the strangest excuse. He claimed he couldn't have been with her on a certain date because he was at a pizza restaurant with his daughter. Yes, you heard that right. His alibi for one of the biggest scandals in royal history was pizza. The backlash was immediate. The interview was a disaster. People were furious. The royal family had no choice but to act. They stripped Andrew of his royal titles and public duties. He disappeared from public life. But did he ever face real consequences? Not really. Eventually, the royal family made a secret deal with Virginia Giuffre. They paid her millions of dollars so she would drop the case. And just like that, the scandal was quietly buried. But here's the real question. If the royal family was willing to protect Prince Andrew, who else have they protected? The tragic story of Princess Diana. Now, let's talk about Princess Diana, the most beloved royal in modern history. Diana was different. She was warm, kind, and truly cared about people. She didn't just smile and wave, she connected with the public. And because of that, she was adored by millions. But the royal family? They didn't feel the same way. Diana was seen as a problem. She didn't follow the rules. She spoke openly about her struggles, her loneliness, and her failing marriage to Charles. And when she famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," referring to Camilla, she embarrassed the entire monarchy. Diana was supposed to stay quiet, but she refused. She exposed secrets the royal family didn't want the world to know. She talked about how Charles had been in love with Camilla all along. She talked about how the palace controlled every aspect of her life. And then, in 1997, something terrible happened. Diana died in a car crash in Paris. The world was in shock. The official story was that her driver was drunk, lost control, and crashed. But a lot of people didn't believe that. Witnesses claimed they saw a mysterious white car near Diana's vehicle just before the crash. Some heard loud bangs before the car lost control. And then there's the most chilling part. Diana herself had predicted something like this would happen. She had written a letter, saying she believed someone was planning an accident to get rid of her. And guess who she named in that letter? Prince Charles. Was it really just an accident? Or was it something more? We may never know for sure. But what we do know is that when the royal family wants something to disappear, they make it happen. How the royal family controls public perception. The royal family is not just a family, it's a business. It survives because people admire and respect it. But what happens when scandals threaten their reputation? That's when their damage control team steps in. They have media experts, PR advisors, and strategists working 24/7 to protect their image. If bad news comes out, they don't panic, they manage it. Sometimes they ignore the story, hoping it fades away. Sometimes they release a carefully worded statement that says nothing but sounds important. And when things get really bad, they create a distraction. For example, when Prince Andrew's scandal became too big to ignore, what happened? Suddenly, the media was flooded with negative stories about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. The timing was suspicious. Was it just a coincidence? Or was it a strategic distraction? The royal family has mastered the art of controlling public opinion. And that's why people are now questioning this new scandal about Queen Camilla. Is this just another royal cover-up? Is this new scandal about Queen Camilla another cover-up? So now we return to the big question. What about Queen Camilla? We know she has a history. We know she was at the center of Charles and Diana's broken marriage. We know she was once hated by the public. And even now, as queen, there are still people who don't trust her. Now, shocking information about her has come out. A guest on Tucker Carlson's show exposed something so disturbing that even Tucker looked disgusted. But here's the real question. What is the royal family doing to cover it up? Will they stay silent, hoping people forget? Will they release a carefully worded statement? Or will they distract us with another story? Maybe more drama about Harry and Meghan. If history has taught us anything, it's that the royal family will do whatever it takes to protect their image. But the truth has a way of coming out. The only question is, when? How the public reacted to the scandal. So what happened after this shocking revelation about Queen Camilla? Well, the internet exploded. People couldn't stop talking about it. Twitter was on fire, Reddit was buzzing, and YouTube comment sections were filled with arguments. Some were furious, some were shocked, and others were like, well, we saw this coming. Let's start with Twitter. Now, if you've spent even 5 minutes on Twitter, you know how wild things can get there. The moment this story broke, people started tweeting like crazy. Some users were posting memes, comparing Queen Camilla to historical villains. Others were writing long threads, trying to break down the situation like detectives. One tweet that went viral said, "First Diana, now this." The royal family never fails to disappoint. It got thousands of likes and retweets. But not everyone was against her. Some royal supporters were defending Camilla, saying people were being too harsh. One person tweeted, This is just another attack on the monarchy. The Queen has worked hard to be where she is today. But that tweet? Yeah, it didn't get as much love. Most of the replies were people disagreeing, posting old clips of Diana's interviews, where she talked about her struggles. Now, Reddit was a whole different battlefield. You know how Reddit works. It's full of deep discussions. People were posting in forums like r/conspiracy, r/royal gossip, and even r/world news. Some users were sharing links to old news articles trying to prove that Camilla had always been hiding something. Others were asking, why do we still have a monarchy in 2025? A Reddit post with thousands of upvotes said, no matter how much the royal family tries to clean their image, the truth always finds a way out. And you know what? That's exactly what a lot of people felt. They believed the royal family had been covering up secrets for years, and this was just another example. And then, of course, there was YouTube. Tucker Carlson's clip from the show was trending. The comments section? A war zone. Some people were praising Tucker for speaking out, saying the mainstream media would never expose this. Others were saying Americans should stay out of British affairs, which of course made the comment section even messier. British versus American public opinion. Now, here's where things got really interesting. The way British people reacted was very different from the way Americans did. Let's talk about the British reaction first. A lot of people in the UK were angry, but not exactly surprised. You see, the British public has had a complicated relationship with Camilla for decades. Some have accepted her as queen, but many still see her as the woman who hurt Diana. This revelation just added fuel to the fire. Some British tabloids went all in. Headlines like, "The Queen's darkest secret finally exposed," started appearing. Morning talk shows had debates about whether the monarchy was still trustworthy. And you know what's interesting? Many older Brits, the ones who lived through the whole Charles-Diana-Camilla drama, were the angriest. They felt like history was repeating itself. But Americans? Oh, Americans love a good royal scandal. The US has always been fascinated with the British monarchy, even though they technically broke away from it hundreds of years ago. To many Americans, the royal family is like a real-life soap opera. So when this story came out, it wasn't just royal watchers who were talking about it, everybody was. Fox News, CNN, and even independent YouTubers started covering it. Some American commentators were comparing it to political corruption, saying things like, "This is why we don't do kings and queens over here." Others were just enjoying the drama, saying things like, "This is better than The Crown on Netflix." But here's the funny part. While many Americans were loving the gossip, some were actually defending Camilla. They felt like the media was being unfair and attacking her just because she wasn't Diana. It was a rare moment where Americans were more sympathetic to the British royal family than the British themselves. Did the royal family say anything? Now this is where things got even more suspicious. At first, Buckingham Palace stayed completely silent. No statements, no interviews, nothing. And you know what that does, right? It makes people even more curious. Eventually, after the story kept spreading, some royal insiders spoke to the media. But their response? It was the usual, "no comment," or "these claims are completely false" type of statement. And let's be honest, does anyone really believe that? One royal expert who often speaks on British TV said, "The palace is in full damage control mode." He explained that the royal family always follows the same strategy when a scandal breaks. Stay silent and hope people move on. If that doesn't work, release a short statement denying everything. If things get really bad, distract the public with another story. And guess what? A few days after this revelation, Prince William and Kate suddenly had a big charity event. Coincidence? Maybe. But a lot of people thought it was a classic move to shift the focus away from Camilla. How this affected Queen Camilla's reputation. So after everything, what did this mean for Queen Camilla? Well, let's just say her popularity didn't exactly go up. Even before this, Camilla wasn't the most loved royal. She had spent years trying to rebuild her image, working on charities and staying out of drama. But deep down, a lot of people never forgot her past. And this scandal? It reminded everyone why they didn't trust her in the first place. Polls started coming out, showing that her approval ratings had dropped. Some people even started calling for her to step down as queen. Of course, that's unlikely to happen, but the fact that people were even discussing it, that says a lot. The younger generation, especially Gen Z, was the most vocal about it. Many of them grew up hearing about Diana's story, and they never fully accepted Camilla. On platforms like TikTok, people started making videos comparing old clips of Diana with new ones of Camilla. One viral TikTok had the caption, "Diana deserved better. The truth always comes out." It had millions of views. Even some royal supporters, who usually defend the monarchy no matter what, were struggling to justify this one. A royal journalist wrote, "This is the biggest challenge Queen Camilla has faced since marrying Charles. Will the public ever see her the same way again?" And that's the big question. Can Camilla ever fix her reputation after this? Or will she always be remembered as the queen with too many secrets? What do you think? Is this the final nail in the coffin for Queen Camilla's public image? Or do you think the royal family will once again escape without consequences? Let us know in the comments below.
King Charles and Queen Camilla are in Australia for the first visit by a reigning British monarch.
Tonight, Britain's Queen Camilla is missing from remembrance events honoring the country's war dead.
When King Charles and Queen Camilla took the throne, they seemed like a perfect power couple, ready to lead the monarchy into a new era. However, behind their calm image lies a story filled with ambition, hidden motives, and power struggles in the royal family. Palace insiders have been talking about Queen Camilla's growing influence behind the scenes, which has reportedly led to tension with the king himself. How did a once supportive partner become a challenger for power in the palace? Join us as we uncover the surprising, untold details of Queen Camilla's rise to prominence. Camilla and Charles's relationship. Charles and Camilla's story began in the early 1970s, long before either of them imagined the intense public scrutiny they'd face. Charles, then a young prince, met Camilla Shand at a polo match. She was charming, confident, and known for her humor, which Charles found refreshing compared to the formality surrounding him. They shared an instant bond with a natural chemistry that neither could ignore. But as the Prince of Wales, Charles faced family pressures over whom he should choose as a partner. A woman from a suitable background, with a clear reputation and without past relationships, was what the royal family expected. Yet despite these pressures, Charles couldn't seem to let go of Camilla. What happened next would change everything. Charles and Camilla's relationship was strong, but he wasn't free to choose as he wished. Pressured by royal duties and expectations, Charles had to put his role before his personal life. Camilla, aware of the limitations that came with his position, eventually married Andrew Parker Bowles, a British Army officer. Their relationship was now officially over, but Charles couldn't simply move on from the deep connection he felt with her. Despite the ending, they continued to write letters, call each other, and occasionally meet, keeping their bond alive even from a distance. As years passed, Charles remained in contact with Camilla even as he prepared to marry Lady Diana Spencer, a match his family deemed ideal for the future king. However, his feelings for Camilla had not disappeared, and this lingering affection would lead to complications. The marriage to Diana was intended to represent continuity for the monarchy. But with his emotions still tied to Camilla, Charles faced an inner struggle. He was torn between the woman he was expected to be with and the woman he loved. Charles's loyalty to Camilla persisted in secrecy, but its impact on his marriage to Diana became visible. Camilla, though not officially part of his life, was present in his thoughts, creating tension that would eventually break through the public's perception of a fairy tale marriage. The secretive bond between Charles and Camilla cast a shadow that grew over time, leading to public speculation and setting the stage for one of the most controversial relationships in royal history. Their story, though forbidden by tradition, duty, and public opinion, would not stay hidden forever. If you are wondering how it turned out, keep watching. Challenges and controversies over the years. As Charles and Diana's marriage faced increasing struggles, rumors of an affair between Charles and Camilla began to surface. By the late 1980s, the British press had begun covering their relationship, with stories about their closeness gradually taking over headlines. The public was captivated by this scandal, one that involved the future king and the woman who had once been his longtime companion. In 1992, Diana's authorized biography was published, exposing her side of the story and giving voice to the difficulties in her marriage. One of the most painful revelations was Charles's ongoing relationship with Camilla, something Diana had struggled with privately for years. These revelations instantly captured global media attention, and the public's fascination with the love triangle intensified. It was the beginning of a period of intense scrutiny that would affect them all for years. The revelations didn't stop there. In 1993, a private phone conversation between Charles and Camilla, later dubbed Camillagate, was leaked to the press. This tape confirmed the intimate nature of their relationship and threw fuel on the fire. The public, already angry over the affair, found themselves outraged as Charles, the future king, seemed to breach both his marriage vows and the public's trust. The scandal cast doubt on his character and leadership. While Diana was viewed as the victim, Camilla, a relatively private figure until that point, was now vilified by the media. She was quickly branded as the other woman, a label that would stick with her for years. The fallout from the affair also affected Camilla's marriage to Andrew Parker Bowles, which was already under strain. By 1995, the couple's relationship officially ended in divorce, another painful chapter in the public saga. The disintegration of her marriage exposed just how much Charles and Camilla's bond was impacting their personal lives. For Camilla, the affair led to both a public and private cost. She lost her marriage and, by extension, a private life outside the media's reach. With the public's growing interest, the royal family itself began to face more difficult questions. For the British public, these constant revelations led to doubts about the future of the monarchy itself. Charles, bound to inherit the throne, found himself in an increasingly difficult position. His personal choices and relationships had become subjects of national debate, challenging his image as the future king. With each passing year, his suitability as a leader seemed less clear. Camilla, despite her silence, was no longer simply a private individual. She had become a controversial figure, a symbol of the challenges faced by the royal family when tradition collided with personal desires. However, over time, the public perception of Charles and Camilla began to shift. As their story continued to unfold, it revealed how they would, against all odds, seek redemption and attempt to rebuild their relationship with both the public and the royal family. Finding public acceptance. After years of being cast as the villain in the media, Camilla faced an uphill battle for public acceptance. The scandal surrounding her relationship with Charles left many people questioning her intentions, and even her suitability to stand beside the future king. Yet, over time, both she and Charles undertook efforts to reshape public perception. Slowly, they began appearing together more often. Starting with low-profile outings and gradually moving to public events, they were careful not to rush, aware that pushing too fast could only reignite criticism. Their strategy aimed at building acceptance through a genuine, visible bond that felt natural rather than forced. It wasn't an easy process. Even as public displays became more frequent, the shadow of Diana's legacy was ever present. Charles and Camilla's every move was analyzed, and the public remained skeptical. Despite these challenges, Camilla worked quietly to change opinions, often through small gestures. She engaged in charitable work, focusing on causes that were close to her heart, including animal welfare and literacy programs. Over time, her public appearances showed a woman who wasn't chasing fame, but who wanted to support meaningful causes. This approach, though understated, began shifting opinions in her favor. In 2005, Charles and Camilla's relationship took a major step forward when they married in a civil ceremony. This event marked the first time a British monarch-to-be married outside a religious setting, a necessary choice given the circumstances. Although the marriage wasn't celebrated with the same grandeur as other royal weddings, it symbolized a turning point. Many saw it as a respectful step that allowed Charles and Camilla to move forward, closing a painful chapter. With the marriage, Camilla received the title Duchess of Cornwall rather than Princess of Wales, a decision made out of respect for Diana's enduring memory. After the wedding, both Camilla and Charles continued their gradual path toward public acceptance. Camilla took on more royal responsibilities, showing that she was committed to supporting the monarchy and Charles's future reign. Her dedication to charity work and her unassuming demeanor contrasted with the image of a home wrecker painted years earlier. Though acceptance was far from unanimous, a growing number of people began to see her differently. Their path toward redemption wasn't without setbacks, but the couple's patience seemed to work in their favor. Yet even with public opinion softening, new challenges were rising. How would Camilla fare as queen alongside Charles, and would they overcome lingering doubts? Keep watching to find out, preparing for life as queen. With their marriage and gradual acceptance by the public, Camilla and Charles began focusing on the future. As Charles prepared for his role as king, it became clear that Camilla's role would also be significant. Camilla, once seen as an outsider, had to prepare herself for life as the queen consort. Over the years, she attended numerous public events, ceremonies, and diplomatic gatherings, acclimating to the pressures of royal duties. Observers noted her increasing confidence, as well as the comfort she seemed to bring to Charles during challenging public appearances. These moments highlighted her evolution from a controversial figure to a steady support for the future king. Camilla's transition wasn't only about public appearances. She also needed to win the trust of key figures within the royal institution. Many senior members of the monarchy had once opposed her presence, fearing she would disrupt the stability of the family. Camilla worked tirelessly behind the scenes, often engaging with staff, diplomats, and officials, showing her commitment to supporting Charles and the monarchy's future. Her dedication to charity and her diplomatic approach were recognized and respected, with some even calling her a calming presence within the family. Despite her progress, the issue of titles lingered. When Charles eventually ascended the throne, many wondered what title Camilla would take. The title Queen Camilla sparked debate, as some still questioned her place within the monarchy's future. However, as Charles publicly supported her, declaring his desire for her to be known as Queen Consort, the conversation took a new direction. The endorsement by Queen Elizabeth II herself in her later years also helped, sending a strong signal that Camilla had the institution's acceptance at the highest level. Camilla's life as Queen Consort would not only involve supporting Charles, but also embodying the values of the British monarchy. She needed to show that her love for Charles was matched by her commitment to duty. And with growing responsibilities, Camilla faced pressures to meet the high expectations that came with her new role. As public opinion softened, and as she gained further respect,
She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
In a development that has sent shockwaves through royal circles, Laura Lopes, daughter of Queen Camilla, has reportedly severed all contact with the royal family, following the accidental discovery of DNA results that have upended everything she thought she knew about her identity. Sources close to the family reveal that Laura, who has maintained a deliberately low profile despite her mother's rise to royal prominence, has not communicated with Camilla since the test results arrived in a plain manila envelope at her Wiltshire home last month. What these results revealed about her true paternity has apparently devastated the 46-year-old art curator and left the royal family scrambling to contain what insiders describe as potentially the most damaging revelation of the modern royal era. Why would DNA results drive Laura to such a drastic decision after decades of family loyalty? And why is Buckingham Palace treating this private family matter as a threat to the monarchy itself? Stay tuned, because this genetic bombshell changes everything. The accidental discovery. When Laura Lopes participated in what she believed was a routine medical screening earlier this year, she had no reason to suspect it would upend her entire understanding of her family history. According to sources familiar with the situation, Laura had undergone comprehensive genetic testing as part of a private healthcare program, a precautionary measure recommended by her physician following some concerning symptoms that ultimately proved benign. It was meant to be nothing more than thorough due diligence, revealed a source connected to the healthcare facility. The genetic screening was primarily focused on identifying potential hereditary health concerns, particularly certain cancers that had appeared in what she believed was her family medical history. The standard procedure should have ended with a routine consultation about the health implications of her genetic profile. Instead, Laura reportedly received something entirely unexpected in addition to her medical results: a separate analysis flagging significant genetic inconsistencies that could not be reconciled with her presumed parentage. The report essentially indicated that Andrew Parker Bowles could not possibly be her biological father, our source explained. The genetic markers showed conclusively that she shares no paternal DNA with her brother Tom, despite them supposedly having the same parents. What made this discovery particularly shocking was the clinical, impersonal way it was delivered. According to those familiar with the situation, the genetic inconsistency was flagged as a potential sample contamination issue, with the report suggesting Laura might want to provide new samples to resolve the apparent error. There was no recognition that this technical finding represented a life-altering revelation about her personal identity. "She was devastated," said someone close to Laura's inner circle. "Imagine discovering something this fundamental about yourself through a clinical report that treated it as nothing more than a technical anomaly. It was the coldest, most impersonal way possible to have your entire identity called into question." After the initial shock, Laura reportedly sought confirmation through additional testing, using a different facility and ensuring the strictest confidentiality. The secondary results only confirmed the original finding. Her DNA showed no genetic relationship to Andrew Parker Bowles, the man she had called father her entire life. Most disturbingly, this discovery led her to examine something she had never questioned: the timeline of her mother's relationships before her birth. What she found reportedly left her reeling. Laura had never paid much attention to the complicated chronology of her mother's life before her birth, our source continued. But once she began examining the timeline with this new information in mind, certain overlaps became impossible to ignore. The most significant revelation came when Laura allegedly discovered that her birth in January 1978 placed her conception in spring 1977, a period when Camilla's relationship with the then Prince Charles had already begun, despite both being married to others at the time. The timing aligned perfectly with what royal biographers have identified as the initial phase of Charles and Camilla's relationship, noted a royal historian consulted on the matter. While their affair has been acknowledged to have begun during this period, the possibility of a child resulting from it has never been publicly suggested, let alone confirmed. When Laura confronted her mother with the test results and the timeline she had assembled, the encounter reportedly ended in a heated exchange at Camilla's private residence, with security staff noting Laura's tearful departure and Camilla's subsequent cancellation of all appointments for the next 3 days, citing an unspecified personal matter. Since that confrontation, Laura has allegedly refused all contact with both her mother and the royal household, returning correspondence unopened and declining calls from even her closest royal connections. The palace panic. The revelation of Laura's genetic discovery has reportedly triggered unprecedented concern within the highest levels of the royal establishment. According to palace insiders, what might normally be treated as a private family matter has been designated a potential constitutional crisis, with special advisors brought in to assess implications that extend far beyond personal relationships. "This isn't being handled as a family rift," revealed a source with direct knowledge of palace operations. "This is being treated as a Category 1 situation, the designation used for events that could fundamentally alter public perception of the monarchy or raise questions about succession." The most immediate concern appears to center on the timing of King Charles's relationship with Camilla relative to his marriage to Princess Diana. While their affair during his marriage has long been acknowledged, the official narrative has always maintained that their relationship was discontinued during certain periods, including the early years of his marriage. "The established timeline has been carefully crafted over decades," explained a former royal communications director. "If evidence emerged suggesting the relationship with Camilla not only continued during the early period of his marriage to Diana, but actually produced a child, it would undermine decades of careful reputation management." Within days of Laura's confrontation with her mother, unusual security protocols were reportedly implemented around all medical facilities she had visited. Sources familiar with royal contingency planning noted the activation of specific media monitoring systems designed to identify early signs of sensitive information entering public circulation. Most tellingly, legal representatives connected to the royal household allegedly approached the private healthcare facility that conducted the initial genetic testing, citing patient confidentiality laws and requesting confirmation that all copies of Laura's genetic information had been secured according to standard privacy protocols. "This wasn't about suppressing information," insisted our source close to these discussions. "This was about ensuring that private medical data wasn't inappropriately accessed or shared." But the urgency and seniority of the individuals involved in these inquiries spoke volumes about the level of concern. Palace officials have reportedly prepared multiple contingency statements addressing different scenarios, ranging from flat denial to carefully worded acknowledgments that neither confirm nor deny the central allegation. Crisis management teams normally reserved for major royal scandals have been placed on standby, with communication strategies developed for various potential disclosure scenarios. There's particular concern about how this information might be weaponized if it became public, noted our palace source. This isn't just about a private family revelation. It potentially connects to narratives about deception, infidelity, and questions about institutional integrity that have surrounded the Charles-Camilla-Diana triangle for decades. Most significantly, King Charles has allegedly been directly involved in these preparations, something unusual for contingency planning, which is typically handled by staff with the monarch briefed only when necessary. According to those familiar with the situation, he has taken a personal interest in the communication strategies being developed, particularly regarding how potential revelations might affect public perceptions of Camilla. His primary concern appears to be protecting her from the inevitable media onslaught if this becomes public, our source explained. He's painfully aware that she would bear the brunt of public criticism, regardless of their shared responsibility. The family fractures. Beyond the institutional concerns, Laura's discovery has reportedly created profound rifts within her immediate family. According to those close to the situation, her relationship with her brother Tom Parker Bowles has become particularly strained as he has attempted to mediate between his sister and mother without taking sides. Tom is in an impossible position, revealed a source close to the family. He loves his sister deeply and understands her sense of betrayal, but he's also protective of their mother and concerned about the broader implications for the royal family, which has become an integral part of his life and career. The most painful aspect for Laura, according to friends, has been reconciling this revelation with her relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles, the man she had always believed was her father. Sources indicate that she has not yet disclosed her discovery to him, creating a painful dilemma, as she grapples with whether revealing the truth would be cruel or necessary at this stage of his life. Andrew has been a devoted father to her, said someone familiar with their relationship. The question she's wrestling with is whether the biological truth matters more than the lifetime of love and support he's given her. There's no easy answer. For Queen Camilla, the situation reportedly represents her greatest personal crisis since joining the royal family. Those close to her describe a woman torn between institutional loyalty and maternal devotion, desperate to reconnect with her daughter, but constrained by the broader implications of the situation. Camilla is devastated, revealed a longtime friend. Whatever the circumstances of Laura's birth, there's never been any question about the depth of love between them. The idea that this revelation could permanently damage that relationship is causing her immense pain. Most concerning for family unity has been King Charles's reaction to the situation. According to palace sources, he has been uncharacteristically withdrawn since learning of Laura's discovery, canceling several private engagements and spending increased time at his Highgrove retreat. Behavior that staff recognize as indicators of significant distress. The king feels tremendous guilt, explained our source close to royal circles. Not just about the past circumstances, but about how this revelation is affecting people he cares about deeply in the present. He's watching a family he loves being torn apart by a situation he helped create nearly half a century ago. The most visible sign of these tensions came at a recent family gathering, where Laura's absence was conspicuous. According to attendees, her name was notably not mentioned throughout the event, creating an uncomfortable atmosphere that even experienced royal staff found difficult to navigate. It was the elephant in the room that no one dared acknowledge, noted one attendee. When her brother was asked about her absence, he simply said she was unavailable and quickly changed the subject. The discomfort was palpable.
What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened.
Prince Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, once the adorable baby that captured the world's hearts, stands at the center of a royal controversy that threatens to rewrite the monarchy's future. After years of speculation and rumors, genetic testing has finally revealed an unthinkable truth. Secret heritage and hidden connections have emerged that cast doubt on centuries of royal history, prompting the young prince to finally cut all ties with a family he never truly felt was his. The revelations have sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace and beyond, raising questions about royal succession and the future of the British monarchy itself. Archie's early life was anything but conventional. Born on May 6, 2019, as the first son of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, he entered a world of privilege and scrutiny. Unlike his royal cousins, Archie was not given a royal title at birth, with his parents expressing their desire for him to lead a more normal life, away from the constraints of royal protocol. This decision, unusual for a child so close to the line of succession, raised eyebrows among royal watchers, but was generally attributed to Harry and Meghan's progressive approach to parenting. From his earliest days, Archie's appearance captivated public attention. His striking features became the subject of endless speculation as royal enthusiasts and critics alike analyzed every photograph for clues about which family members he most resembled. While some pointed to similarities with Prince Harry's red hair or Meghan's warm complexion, others noted distinctive features that seemed to match neither the Windsor nor Markle family traits. These observations, initially dismissed as harmless speculation, would later take on profound significance in light of genetic discoveries that have shaken the royal family to its core. The Sussex family's dramatic departure from royal life in 2020, dubbed Megxit by the press, only intensified public curiosity about young Archie. As Harry and Meghan established their new life first in Canada and then California, they fiercely protected their son's privacy, releasing only occasional glimpses of the growing boy. This protective stance, while understandable given the media's relentless scrutiny, fueled further speculation about Archie's appearance and development. Royal experts noted that this level of privacy was unprecedented for a child so close to the British throne, though few could have predicted the explosive reasons behind the family's desire for distance from the royal establishment. As Archie grew, subtle distinctions in his appearance became increasingly apparent. Royal watchers noticed that certain features matched neither the Windsor nor Markle family patterns exclusively. His height, build, and carriage developed along lines distinct from his royal relatives. Palace sources, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that these physical differences had not gone unnoticed within royal circles. Prince William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, reportedly remarked privately on these distinctions during the few family gatherings that included young Archie before the Sussexes' departure from royal duties. What few knew was that behind palace walls, tensions had been building over these observations. The matter of Archie's appearance had become a sensitive topic within the royal household. Early photographs showed Archie's changing features as he developed from infant to toddler, highlighting characteristics that would become subjects of intense speculation. His distinctive smile, expressions, and physical presence set him apart from both immediate family members and extended royal relations. These differences, subtle in his early years, became more pronounced as he reached childhood, creating whispers that would eventually grow into much more. The story of Archie's true paternity begins not with his birth but 9 months earlier, during a turbulent period in Harry and Meghan's life. In the summer of 2018, as the newlywed couple navigated the complexities of royal life and growing media scrutiny, Meghan reportedly formed a close friendship with Canadian entrepreneur Marcus Anderson. Initially introduced through mutual friends in Toronto during Meghan's Suits filming days, Anderson reconnected with the Duchess during this challenging period, offering support and guidance as she adjusted to royal life. Their friendship, entirely platonic according to all public accounts, nonetheless raised eyebrows among more traditional palace staffers. Anderson, a successful businessman with connections throughout North American entertainment and political circles, became an unofficial advisor to the Sussexes during their early marriage. His regular presence at Frogmore Cottage, the couple's UK residence, was noted by royal household staff, but never publicly reported. According to former royal aide Caroline Whitmore, Marcus was a breath of fresh air for Meghan during a suffocating time. He understood both the celebrity world she came from and the high society circles she now moved in. This unique perspective made him a valuable confidant as Meghan navigated her new role. What the public didn't know was that during a brief period when Prince Harry was fulfilling royal duties overseas, Anderson spent considerable time with Meghan, helping her plan charitable initiatives and offering emotional support amid growing tensions with the royal establishment. Their close relationship never raised suspicions of impropriety, as Anderson had been openly identified as gay in several media profiles. This very assumption of platonic friendship created the perfect cover for what would later become the most closely guarded secret in modern royal history. As Archie grew from infant to toddler, subtle physical similarities between the young prince and Anderson became apparent to those who knew both well. Anderson's distinctive jawline, eye shape, and even his manner of expression seemed increasingly mirrored in the young royal's developing features. These similarities, while striking to close observers, remained largely unnoticed by the general public, who had limited access to images of the growing child due to Harry and Meghan's protective approach to Archie's privacy. The couple's move to California further insulated Archie from public scrutiny, allowing these resemblances to remain a private matter. The matter of Archie's paternity attracted various unofficial attempts at verification over the years. Several British tabloids claimed to have conducted DNA analysis using materials obtained under questionable circumstances, though these reports were swiftly countered with legal action from the Sussexes' representatives. The limitations of these early attempts, combined with limited access to Archie, meant that previous speculation remained just that: unverified rumors without scientific backing. The royal family's public stance remained unwavering. Archie was Harry's son, and any suggestion otherwise was malicious fabrication designed to undermine the Sussexes. Behind closed doors, however, questions persisted. According to royal biographer Malcolm Perkins, Prince Harry himself began to notice the growing physical disparities between himself and his son. As Archie grew, Harry couldn't help but observe features that matched neither his own appearance nor Meghan's family traits, Perkins wrote in his controversial 2025 biography. These observations, while never publicly acknowledged, created a private weight that contributed to the prince's ongoing struggle with his royal identity and family connections. This internal conflict would eventually lead to Harry's decision to seek definitive answers. Archie's relationship with the royal family had already been strained by distance and family tensions. The physical separation created by the Sussexes' move to California meant that Archie had minimal contact with his royal relatives during his formative years. Video calls with his great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, and occasional visits with Prince Charles, now King Charles III, constituted the bulk of his interaction with the Windsor side of his family. This distance, while initially attributed to pandemic restrictions and family disagreements, took on new significance as questions about genetic connections intensified. As Archie approached his 6th birthday, Prince Harry made a momentous decision. Away from the constraints of royal influence and increasingly troubled by lingering questions, he arranged for comprehensive DNA testing for both himself and Archie. Unlike previous unofficial attempts, this testing utilized the most advanced genetic analysis available, capable of revealing detailed information about heritage and ancestry. The decision marked a turning point, a choice to pursue truth regardless of potential consequences for family relationships and royal succession. What Harry could not have anticipated was how completely these results would transform his understanding of his son's identity and his own relationship with the monarchy. The test results delivered a stunning revelation. Prince Harry was not Archie's biological father. The comprehensive genetic analysis showed conclusively that while Meghan was indeed Archie's biological mother, Harry shared no genetic markers with the boy who had been presented to the world as his son and heir. The DNA results indicated instead a parental match with Marcus Anderson, the Canadian entrepreneur who had been such a close friend and advisor to Meghan during the early days of her royal life. This discovery, confirmed through multiple independent analyses, explained the physical distinctions that had generated years of quiet speculation. The moment Harry received the test results marked a turning point in royal history. According to sources close to the prince, he initially responded with shock and disbelief, demanding the tests be repeated multiple times to confirm their accuracy. Once the truth became undeniable, Harry faced the most difficult conversation of his life with Meghan. Royal correspondent James Thorpe reported that this conversation lasted through the night, with the couple confronting truths that would forever alter their family narrative. By morning, they had reached a decision that would prioritize honesty and healing over royal convention and appearance. Rather than hiding the truth, Harry and Meghan chose to share the discovery with Archie himself, in an age-appropriate manner that emphasized love over biological connection. Child psychologists were consulted to ensure this revelation would be presented in a way that reinforced Archie's sense of security and belonging. "Biology doesn't make a family. Love does," Harry reportedly told his son, a sentiment that reflected his own complex experience with family relationships. This approach, focusing on emotional bonds rather than genetic ties, demonstrated the Sussexes' commitment to transparency and authenticity with their children. The royal family's response to this revelation was initially one of stunned silence. When privately informed of the test results, King Charles III reportedly secluded himself for days, processing implications that extended beyond family dynamics to questions of royal succession and legitimacy. Prince William, already estranged from his brother, viewed the news through the lens of institutional preservation, immediately consulting with royal legal advisors about succession implications. The palace's official position remained one of no comment, as strategies were developed to address a situation unprecedented in modern royal history. Marcus Anderson's reaction to the revelation proved equally complex. Initially shocked to learn of his biological connection to Archie, Anderson responded with a mix of confusion and concern for the child's well-being. Sources close to the entrepreneur revealed that he had been unaware of the possibility that he might be Archie's father, having believed his brief relationship with Meghan had remained private and inconsequential. His primary concern, expressed through legal representatives, was that Archie's emotional health be prioritized above all other considerations, including potential claims to relationship or access. For Archie himself, now old enough to understand the basics of the situation, the revelation prompted questions about his identity and place within both family and royal structures. Child development experts brought in to support the family noted that Archie's strong sense of security within the Sussex household provided a crucial foundation for processing such significant information. His relationship with Harry, built on years of daily interaction and genuine paternal care, remained his primary father-son bond regardless of genetic findings. This emotional reality would prove central to the family's decisions moving forward. After careful consideration of all involved, Archie made a decision that stunned royal watchers worldwide. With the support of his parents, the young prince announced through age-appropriate channels his desire to formally disconnect from the royal family structure. This wasn't a rejection of individual relationships, but rather a clarification of institutional connections. The statement, released through the Sussexes' Archewell Foundation, emphasized that family is defined by love, not titles or tradition, and expressed Archie's wish to grow up free from royal expectations or obligations. This decision, while shocking to royal traditionalists, aligned with the Sussex family's established values of authenticity and emotional well-being over institutional demands. By choosing to acknowledge the truth of his biological heritage while affirming his family bonds with Harry, Archie demonstrated remarkable emotional maturity for his age. His choice to formally separate from royal identification reflected not anger, but clarity about his true identity and desired future. The separation went beyond Harry and Meghan's previous steps back from royal duties. This complete break represented acknowledgement of a truth that demanded full recognition. Today, Archie lives in California with Harry, Meghan, and his sister, Lilibet Diana. The family has established a life centered on privacy, purpose, and authentic connection. Marcus Anderson has become a respectful presence